we really feel very strongly that what Hizmet is doing in this can only better the world, and regardless of who the people are, if they're in need of help, we have to help them. And Hizmet is an important part of doing that. My trip to Turkey, I did not know what I was in for, what was happening, and Hizmet might move to in the coming years and what they might do, and where My name is Stephan Sherman, member of 2 synagogues here in Orange County, and I've been involved in a number of interfaith activities, including a group called Walking Together, which combines children from both the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim communities for studying about each other's religions. And been the treasurer of that group for a number of years. I'm also a liaison from my synagogue to the Muslim community in the county. Over the last 10 years since I got involved again with the community, I've been most impressed with the Hizmet movement and what it stands for. I've become close friends with a number of people within the community, and through them and through one of the tours to Turkey, I got to see not only what the Hizmet movement was about, but I had first-person experience of various programs sponsored by the Hizmet movement, and was quite impressed with their views and in the area of developing Islam into the modern world and trying to allow today's technology interact with Islam without conflict. And most importantly, I found the attitude towards education, both for boys and girls, to be most impressive, since personally as an engineer, I find education to be most important. And I think the Hizmet movement's attitude towards education has to be complimented. It's very important in today's world for the youth to be educated. It's very difficult to understand what today's Islam really is. There are so many conflicts in many different Islamic organizations giving their opinion of Islam. However, I feel that Mr. Gülen's approach is very close to what I see within Judaism as well, and that is respect for people, and mainly respect for people of different faiths, and working together and enhancing one's lives, not only through interaction, but through a belief in God. And I just feel that those issues put a perspective on Islam, which is one that should every Muslim should be proud of. It really, in my opinion, represents what I feel the Islam approach should be. In considering how one would look at the Hizmet movement and its validity, and the phrase of "it's too good to be true," actually, it is good and it is true. And I think people have become cynics, and by being exposed to radical religion, regardless of the religion, they find it difficult to accept that there are aspects of religion that are not radical, that are moderate, and are caring about people and community. And I feel we as a society have just been overwhelmed with so much negativism that when we see something good, we question it. And that's unfortunate, because the good people are disadvantaged because of actions of those that aren't as good. One of the areas, I guess the reason I got involved with the movement to begin was because of interfaith activities. And I have to admit that working with the Pacifica Institute here in Southern California has been a wonderful experience. I'm personally very involved in interfaith, and we have had members of the Pacific Institute at our synagogue to participate in joint celebrations of various holidays, which we were able to relate to not only the Jewish holiday, but relate them to Muslim belief, whether it was out of the Quran or whether it was out of hadiths. And as we get involved in interfaith, we realize we all believe in the same things, regardless of the way we approach it. And I think interfaith is so important in trying to bring stability and peace in the world, because tolerance of other people, tolerance of other faiths, and working together is the way we advance. Fighting with each other doesn't benefit anyone. I'm very impressed with the Hizmet view towards charity, and it corresponds very closely with the Jewish versions of charity, in that, first of all, in Judaism we call charity tzedakah. In Arabic it's sadak, and it's also one of the 5 pillars of Islam. And we both, Jews and Muslims together, believe in serving others and doing what you can for those that are in need of help. And one thing locally that we do that I found fascinating in talking with the Pacifica Institute leaders was their desire to help the community. And at my synagogue, we have a program called Mitzvah Meals, which means doing meals in a charity arrangement. And when I mentioned it, the Pacific Institute folks said, "This is great." And what we do is we get food donated by various groceries in the area. We get the food every Sunday. We prepare it, and then we serve it to the homeless and the needy throughout parts of the county. And we serve over 300-400 people every single Sunday. And a number of people from Pacific Institute have come to our synagogue to work side by side with us to help prepare food for the less fortunate. And I thought that was wonderful, because we work together and to help. And just as the relief organizations are going around the world to help people, we do the same thing. And we really feel very strongly that what Hizmet is doing in this can only better the world. And regardless of who the people are, if they're in need of help, we have to help them. And Hizmet is an important part of doing that. As far as the Hizmet attitude of helping people wherever they are, whoever they are, is most important. It does a number of things. First of all, the people who are in need the help. And we do good deeds. We do our charity by doing that. But also, we set an example. If Hizmet can do that, why can't other organizations do the same thing? Hizmet doesn't have a monopoly on doing good deeds. And we are the example. In Judaism, we have a phrase that we are to be a light unto the nations, to show them how to behave by our own behavior. And I think Hizmet is doing that. It's showing people that, yes, you can be good, you can help, and maybe others will learn from the Hizmet example. When I took my trip to Turkey, I did not know what I was in for or what was happening, and I must say it was a very well-programmed tour. I was kept very busy, and meeting people in various areas, whether it was university professors, newspaper editors, the relief organization, the Writers Guild, the schools. Every one of them that we met were very positive people, very supportive and always forward-looking and trying to do their best for the betterment of the populations that they serve. In considering where Hizmet might move to in the in the coming years and what they might do and where they might find room for improvement, I think the biggest issue would be recognition of what they do by the general population and an understanding of what Hizmet is and what is happening. In many organizations, and particularly those that are involved in charity and support, it is considered improper to advertise what you do. The greatest form of charity is where you give anonymously and not know who the recipient is. And while that might be the greatest form of charity, unfortunately in today's world, people that don't know what Hizmet is doing and don't realize the scope and the benefits that Hizmet is providing tend not to consider Hizmet a viable operation or an organization. And I think extending the knowledge of Hizmet, Mr. Gulen's philosophies, out into the general population is really an important thing. And it would be to the benefit of not only Hizmet, but also to other folks as well.
It's a great blessing in the lives of those who follow the teachings of Fethullah Gulen, because he promotes interfaith dialogue, education, and nonviolence. And I think those are all very important values.
I place Fethullah Gulen in the same context as Martin Luther King Jr., in the same context as Nelson Mandela. I find his words the words of an education philosopher